Ha! Good morning to you, everybody out there. Welcome to Vitality Now. It's Dr. Brian Prax. Dr. Jennifer is not with us again today, but we have a treat for you today. We got the owner of Triple C Camp with us, or the co-owner of Triple C Camp. That's H Rothenberg. Welcome to the show.
Dr. Brian, thank you so much for having me. Super excited about participating in Vitality Now.
Yeah, you got it, man. I'm super excited to have you here as well. So we were doing lunch a little earlier, and I said, you know, H, we're doing Vitality Now. That's the name of the program. Dr. Jennifer and I have brought on a lot of information. We talk a lot about diet. We talk a lot about exercise. I mean, you know as well as I do, those things are critical for Vitality Now. But in talking with you and thinking about it, I think we've missed a big piece of achieving as much vitalism as you possibly can, and that's the 6 inches, or for some people 6.5 inches, or whatever it is between your ears.
Okay.
Yeah. So headspace. What do you know about that?
Oh, my goodness.
You're one of the most positive guys I know out there. But how can one get more? How is that so important? What do you think?
First of all, thank you for sharing that you think that I'm a positive person. It's something that I really, really work at.
Yeah.
Just to kind of back up a second, just focus on that. I think just being in a positive mode is a mindset that needs to come to the front of the cognitive abilities. So by my background in life of working with children and trying to grow and develop children and trying to grow and develop the staff who are working with said children, who are also fairly well children, brain still developing. Most of our staff are between the ages of 19 and 25. Mm-hmm. They're still very much in a developmental stage. We have the opportunity to make an impact in their lives. And a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, I had a camp mentor who would talk to us about the power of the positive word. And when we're thinking about the positive word, putting that into children's lives, and when that's what you're doing for a career, then that is something then becomes a permanent part of your life. And that's really what's happened and taken place for me, in that it was almost by default. If I really wanted to go all in to this kid's world and positively impacting and be successful at it, I needed to walk the walk. It's so easy just to talk about doing something in our lives. Mm-hmm. It can be harder to actually do it. And in regards to the positive mental attitude, I've always really tried to use positive words when certainly growing and developing our own children, but most importantly, growing and developing our staff and the campers that we have the opportunity to serve.
Yeah. So to back up and ask you something that you were saying, you said you feel like you have to work at it. And can you talk to that? Because I have some strategies that I use. I agree with you 100%. So much of this world is negative. I mean, flip on the news, the radio, the TV, open up a magazine.
Right?
My God, it's negative, negative, negative. And we know for sure, I think we were quoting earlier Henry Ford, who said, hey, if you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
I think that's worth saying again, so that people really get.
If you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right. So, yeah, words and thoughts and emotions have a lot to do with whether somebody's trying to heal themselves, or they're trying to lose weight, or they're trying to become a basketball player.
That's right.
I have patients come in all the time saying, well, I'm just old. The doctor says I'm old, and I just got to learn to live with it. I'm never getting better. I hear these words all the time, and I'm just looking at them like, wow. If that's what you think, that's what you're going to get. So back to that question for you. How is it that you work on it? Because, I do know you as a very positive guy.
Well, thank you. Uplifting. It's really critical in what I do for a living, is that I'm impacting others all the time. So I'm very conscious of what I say, how I say, where I say it. And so whether it be in a grocery store or it be working with 350 children, I have the same strategy in regards to the way that I communicate, the way that I share, the way that I present. I think that that's hard for some people. I have found that to be a better strategy for me. That way I don't have to turn something on and turn something off. Mm-hmm. Over the course of the NBA season this year, LeBron James, they kept talking about the Cavaliers can just turn it on and turn it off. Mm. Generally speaking, it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, we saw that too with the Cavaliers losing to the Golden State Warriors 4-1. However, when you decide that you're going to behave a certain way, when you're going to act a certain way, and you've made that commitment to yourself, potentially to your spouse, and the choices that you're going to make, which should be very transparent within your relationships. When you make the choices about the direction that you're going to go, whether it be, like I said, with your partner or other people in your lives, and your attitude, people count on that. Mm-hmm. People count on morning energy from one person versus another. Who's going to be that morning person at work and really going to get things going, or who's going to be that Debbie Downer on that Monday morning and not really going to be somebody that they want to be around, so you avoid them at all costs.
Yeah.
So my real question when I work with young people is, what do you want? Because ultimately they get the opportunity to choose and decide. So I guess what I'm really saying, as far as what works for me, is taking perhaps what is in the subconscious and bringing it to the conscious. Things that I know I can and should be doing, and just doing it. And so when it comes to my words and the way that I'm talking or the way that I'm thinking, pausing is a great strategy that I find works really well for me. Because I try to be a good listener, even though certainly by the last few minutes you can say I can certainly put out some hot air and put out some words to you.
I hear you.
However, I think it's really important when you're having a mutual, respectful conversation, be a good listener. Have an understanding of where somebody else is coming from, and then you can reflect and actually listen to what they're saying versus thinking about what you're going to be saying next.
Okay. Let me go back to your comment, or the professional basketball player LeBron James, Steph Curry, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. The list goes on and on. To be a pro, which is what you are, I want to nail it down. I want to dig down deep right now, and I'm going to give a couple of things, or a list of things that I do to literally train the positivity into my brain, because I think what you're saying is it doesn't necessarily come naturally. So in the years, at least, 25 years, I've been reading positive books. I focus myself, and lately I've been listening to Audible, which is an awesome thing on Amazon.com. So I get the books on tape.
Right.
For those of you who are listening, way back, we used to get books on tape. I would listen to the great mentors, the positive influence, the Zig Ziglar, the Jim Rohn. And we could
Jim Rohn, R-O-N-E,
R-O-H-N.
R-O-H-N. Thank you.
Know Jim Rohn?
I don't.
Okay, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar.
Know them.
I mean, the list goes on and on.
I thought you were talking about Jim Rome, which is a totally different guy,
Totally different
but in
guy.
the radio world.
Yeah.
So thank you for correcting
in the
me.
positivity. Grant Cardone is one of my favorite. You got to write that one down. But I've been to seminars. I've been to conferences. I've paid for counseling. I do in the morning time just to continue with this. And we know that Steph Curry practices on those three-pointers, and so does LeBron. I'm sure they sit there and probably do tens of hundreds of free throws and layups, and that's why they are the pros that they're pros. And I don't know about you, but every morning I get up, first thing in the morning, I'm doing my hour of power. And sometimes it's a half hour of power, and sometimes it's just 15 minutes of getting my head right. And what do? I actually have a list of affirmations that I'll write down, the same ones every single day. So one of those that I'll write down is, I am a super positive, influential mentor to my children. Okay, so
awesome.
That's an example. I have other goals that I'll write down as well, but I have a good 15 minutes of writing down that I'll do. I will meditate, I will think on things, and like I said earlier, I focus my attention on positive things. Those are my layups.
I got it.
Those are my three-pointers. That's my
I've seen you make
practice.
layups. The three-pointers, on the other hand.
Okay, but I'm not a pro at that.
Let's keep
either.
those your layups, right?
So yeah, but positive thinking. How have you gotten to the point where you're at, H, on your positivity, and how do you stay there?
Well, I tell you, first of all, I'm always inspired when I spend time either speaking with you, Dr. Prax, or when I get the opportunity to go to Prax Chiropractic. I do believe that when you talk about getting up in the morning, maybe a half an hour or an hour, probably before you get your kids up, or before you engage with the rest of the world.
A lot more than that. Right, teenagers.
Right. And having your own time. I actually call that getting into your day before your day gets into you.
Okay.
You get up a half an hour early, even if it's going out for a run, if you're going to work out, if you're going to get up and have a cup of coffee, if that's what you need for that 20 minutes, reading the newspaper or going online, checking scores or stocks or whatever the case may be, if you need that time to get into your day, schedule it into your day.
That's it. Yep,
Give
I
yourself that extra time. Schedule it in the day before, the week before, so that you've got your plan set up. It's so easy to stay up at night and watch one more Netflix show that you're binge watching instead of turning it off and making sure that you get enough sack time, because that really affects what's going to happen to you the next day. So set your schedule, have your plan, and execute it. And I'll say, listen, Dr. Brian lives this every day, and he's teaching it to others. It's fantastic that he's doing it. It's hard for us mere mortals sometimes to recognize the need to write down what our goals are, and so sometimes for me, actually, I speak my goals more, and that works. And I do write goals annually, but on a daily basis. For me, it's more speaking about it, and then I make use actually of shower time. To actually review and reflect and even create. I come up with ideas because it's just a rote behavior, something I don't need to think about because I've done it a few thousand times. Between washing the hair, I actually shave in the shower. Wash, shave, I brush my teeth in the shower, and wash. There's that time, but I come out with ideas. So it is a reflection that also breeds into inspiration. And I think that can be pretty powerful, and that can be part of getting into your day. I would completely recommend things like exercise, having maybe some one-on-one time with a spouse before you wake children up. If you can spend 30 minutes with your spouse before you wake up your children and be on the same page,
I love that.
you're going to be so much more connected with your partner for the day and on. So it really comes to priorities. There's 24 hours in a day.
We all have the same time.
That's right. How are we going to make use of that 24 hours?
Hey, if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. This is Vitality Now. Dr. Brian Prax here, and we got H Rothenberg, the owner at Triple C Camp, the co-owner at Triple C Camp. It's awesome to have you here. We are also recording this on YouTube, so if you want to check out my YouTube channel, Dr. Prax, right on, there we go. He just did thumbs up to the recorder there. 98.9, we're on WINA. You can also check out, if you missed the first half or other shows, check out WINA.com, and you can check out their podcast to get previous shows too. So I love what you said, getting into your day before your day gets into you. I sit down now when I'm in the shower, it's all about hurry up. I'm a triathlete, so it's all about that transition. How fast can I get from the run to the office? So for me, it's all about gear done. But Dr. Jennifer does the same thing, and for her, it's almost, and it sounds like for you, it's almost a meditative, a contemplative, an opportunity to not only clean and shave and do all those things, but it sounds like you're thinking, you're processing, maybe almost even meditating, and a lot of people have that and can gain that from water.
Dr. Brian, there's no one who can get at me. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not looking at an email or receiving that type of communications. I don't have campers or staff, that are asking for support or different things that they might need. Camp parents who we're working with. It's absolutely 100% my time. And so I value that. But then at the same time, strategically, I've chosen how to make use of it and have the results that I'm looking for. Because I think certainly in my lifetime, there have been days when I'll just zone out in that space and I'm not working my brain the way that I do at other times. It'll depend on time of year, what's going on with the family, what's going on with the business. I think all those factors come into play for us in regards to our attitude. And I think we started talking about our attitude with our words. I've always been a fan of directing our staff with their positive words, and I share with them that their words are like the rudder of a ship. They determine what direction they go. A rudder of a ship is a very, very small tool in the idea of a whole ship, and certainly when you're talking about cruisers, etc., the rudder of the ship is not a very big item, but very important.
A lot of leverage.
And our words have a very similar impact in regards to our actions. Very often the things that we say then become the things that we do. So think about what comes into your mind, what you choose to say, and then how you act or react with the words that come out of your mouth. And do you follow through on the things that you say that you're going to do? Are you honoring those commitments? Are you being respectful to the others that you are sharing direction or making requests of? Really important that you recognize what and how you are saying it versus talking for the sake of talking.
Yep. Hey, people will respond in the most freakish way, a most unbelievable, eye-popping way when I say, and I'm talking about things like this, or exercise. And I love that. People are always saying, oh, I just don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to eat right. I don't have time to shop or to bake or to cook or to meditate. And who's got time for yoga and all these sort of things? And by the way, those are a lot of the strategies that a lot of people will use. But H, even when you said you're in the shower and nothing's really going on, there's a lot going on in that subconscious mind. Your brain right there is, whether you know it, whether you're actively thinking of something or not, it's actually crunching through some emotions, some thoughts, putting pieces together. And that's actually the goal of meditation, is to get without thought, to get away from thought, to get away from those constant barrages of information and constant barrages of trying to think things out. So your brain is actually doing things when you're sleeping and, quote, doing nothing, or standing in the shower and nothing's really happening. There's a lot of stuff happening there.
Talking about intentionality versus lack thereof intentionality, or just kind of just being. And I think you're absolutely right. There's a lot of meditation time that goes on during those types of experiences when you have that opportunity to be alone in your own space. I think, meditation might mean one thing to one person, or at least the way that they act through their meditation experience, and might mean something else to someone else. So that you could have a meditation experience and not necessarily be sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed and right on the pillow. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then yoga, of course, is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That is great for us.
I like to say that it's like meditative stretching. It's pretty awesome stuff. They call us human beings rather than human doings, but in our world, like you were mentioning before, with all the access we have more access to information nowadays with, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. If it's even in the word Insta, just stuff at our fingertips like never ever in the history of the world. We have so much access, and with that is kind of cool, because I can go to Google and look up how to fix my son's 73 Volkswagen Bug carburetor in an instant, and I can look up what's this such and such diagnosis that a patient just came in with. But at the same time, it's a barrage of input, and one of the things I wanted to say is, sometimes, actually more often than not, we should be making time. I think I'm talking to myself. We should really be setting aside time to do nothing. To do nothing. And for me, that's so hard. And I imagine for you it might be as well, because we're go-getters. We're out there. We're doing. We're taking action. We're taking names. And we're doing everything we can to push our businesses, to push ourselves, to push our people. And I almost feel guilty when sometimes I'm just sitting there. Sometimes on Friday afternoons, it's just like a little bit of break time, a little bit of breather time, and I'm almost having to apologize or justify for myself that, hey, Brian, it's okay. You worked
Stop
really
doing
hard.
that.
You've been up.
Stop doing
You've
that.
been up since 4:30 in the morning. You've been crushing it, pushing it the whole entire day. You know what? It's okay just to sit here on the couch and do nothing, and it's okay to have that downtime, and that's when stuff gets done.
And you're really talking about appropriate balance in one's life, and making sure that you find that balance. Because I know with you and your desire with the triathlons and the ultimate exercise, that is a way to balance out your work. There's other people who may sit in the sun on the chair in the backyard and need that 30 minutes, of just to literally sit and do nothing physically. Because they are go during the day. So, I'm kind of feeling like, earlier we were talking about in the mornings, making sure you have time for yourself. I'm kind of feeling like we're going towards throughout the course of the day as well, making sure that you prioritize some time for yourself, whether that be before or after a dining experience or just early or mid-evening, as far as your routine, to make sure that you have time for yourself throughout the course of the day, especially if you're somebody who's interacting with hundreds, if not even thousands of people. There are many folks
Yeah.
who go through those experiences, and they need to be away from it.
Yeah.
So the other thing I will say, if you're sitting on that chair in the backyard enjoying the sun, my suggestion would be that the mobile devices or the mini computers are inside the house,
Yeah.
and
It's
just really
true.
take advantage of that
It's
that
so
time.
true.
Because
Shut
then
it
your
off.
brain goes into 13 or 70, 100, 7,000 different directions
Yeah.
when you're looking at that little mini computer known as a cell phone.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of that downtime or relaxation
Hey, we just
time.
have a couple minutes left here. Let's go ahead and wrap up. Let's maybe summarize or even brainstorm. I know we're reiterating,
Sure.
but what are some things that you and I can go through? And I want to start out the list, and that is walking. We talk about exercise all the time, but such an advantage, so many different things with just plain old walking. But by walking, by exercising, something even mindless or brainless really helps in a meditative, helps your brain to clear out. So swimming, walking.
Absolutely, and I've noticed lots of folks at all ages getting a little bit more into technology and listening to either a podcast or music or something very soothing as they're walking or as they're exercising. Certainly it helps the time go along, but also it could be a learning opportunity. So make use of that multitasking
That's true. That's really good.
if it's healthy for you.
Yeah, and I love the audibles. I love getting fun books. I love getting self-help books. There's so many self-help and positive books, and so many people will, poo-poo that, or they're trying to help themselves. What's wrong? The world is constantly brainwashing us with negative thoughts like murders and shootings and this, that, and the other, and drugs and fires. Why not brainwash ourselves into some positive thinking too?
10 little words. If it is to be, it is up to me. We've got to make it happen.
I'm going to go ahead and end it with that, H. I really appreciate you showing up here and helping us out to bring more vitality to our listeners.
It's always fun to be with you, Dr. Brian. Thank you for having me.
How can our listeners get a hold of you if they want to look up Triple C Camp?
Sure, you can always learn more at triplec-camp.com. I also operate a coaching business for summer camps and schools and youth programming, which is campcoach.com. So triplec-camp.com, campcoach.com.
We'll make sure we key that in correctly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, H.
Make it a
Awesome.
great one.
Yep.